ever lacked courage, or who's ever been afraid to do something or go after something they really wanted in life. Now, I know it took a lot of courage here to get through the weather. It's going to take a lot of courage to follow up the energy of Melissa's speech. But finding real courage is something you can look back on, and I endeavor to you to look back on this talk. And when you remember it, anything you're afraid to do, anytime you're afraid to get up and give a speech, anytime you're afraid to own your own business, anytime you're afraid to work with power tools, you can get up and you can help anyone else, or you can help yourself overcome that fear. Now, why do I say this? Because for the longest time, in my teenage years, in my college years, and even up until this point, I was paralyzed by fear. Fear of the uncertain, and fear of something I thought I could never overcome. That was to actually become an international speaker and to become an entrepreneur. When we look at the world, there's two types of people. There are people who are up here giving crazy speeches about how they destroy the dolls. There are people who are trying to motivate others and maybe looking crazy in the process. There are people who are giving humorous speeches. There are people who are starting their own businesses. There are people who are going after what they want every day, trying to improve, become more honest, become a better person. And the second group of people, they don't. That's it. My question here is, which one are you, and which one do you endeavor to be? And I cannot say I was always the latter group. I used to stand on the sidelines. I used to be the little kid in the corner who was introverted all the time. But how did this happen? How did I lack so much courage? How did I let myself fall into a state of being depressed all the time, of not really acknowledging my real feelings, and not really living a life true to myself? We have to start with my childhood to figure out how this happened. So let's rewind the clock. I'm back in kindergarten. I have the puffy hair. I look like an Oompa Loompa. I have the big glasses, like Steve Urkel. I have my pants up here. I'm running around kindergarten, and my teacher asks me, Kareem, what do you want to do when you grow up? I think for a second. I say, I want to be an actor. Now, I'm terrified of audiences at this point. If I was a little kid now, I'd be running probably at that door and saying, no more, no more, no more. But I knew I wanted to be an actor because actors, and my favorite one, the late Robin Williams, inspired people. He knew that thoughts, words, and actions could actually change the world. And that was something I looked up to as a kid. Even though I was super scared to get in front of an audience, to actually speak in front of anybody, or to do any performances. My endeavor at that point was just to be a little kid, to have fun, and to dream big, which I did. Nobody crushed my dreams at that point. I even had crazy dreams of inventing the flying carpet from Aladdin, which I'm still working on. Now, we fast forward, childhood's all happy, it's all fun. Now I'm a teenager, I'm sitting in class, I really don't have a direction. My entertainment now is playing video games. I've become a little bit more introverted. I'm sitting in a classroom and they tell me it's career day. What does that mean? You have to pick a career. I'm 14. Unless there's a career playing PlayStation and hanging out with your friends at the skate hop, I don't really know what I want to do with my life. Kareem, you have to pick a career. You can't keep dreaming big that you're going to be a rock star, that you're going to be a stand-up comedian, that you're going to play video games for a living. You have to choose an actual, real career. And I sat there and I said, I don't know what I want to do. I think I'm good with computers. I'll look into something else. And for the longest time, I struggled through junior high and high school because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have any interest in the curriculum, and I felt the pain of thinking, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know what I want to become. Now, just fast forwarding to high school, very briefly, I goofed off a lot, too many crazy parties, and my parents are going to watch this and say, Kareem, what? And I really didn't do well, so I was confronted with three choices. And that was, you either go to the military, which I said no, you either go to technical school, and I wasn't interested, or you have to go to college. If you don't go to college, you won't be successful. I thought, they're probably right, they're my parents. I need to be successful, I need to have a career. That's what they told me as a teenager. It all seemed to make sense. And college was a blast. I met a lot of new friends, but I still didn't really know what I was living for. What was I truly doing on this planet, other than just partying and going to a few classes so I could make my teachers happy? And they told me that eventually I had to pick something and go into a career field and get a job. Now, unfortunately, I did just that. I came into the fear that I had to be part of the corporate world and that I needed to do what everybody else was doing. So after I graduated, I got my first job actually at BNY Mellon as a contractor. And for a while it was great. I got checks that I didn't know were mine. I had fun meeting new friends, but eventually what happened is day in and day out, I sat at my cubicle thinking, is it 4 o'clock yet? Can I leave? The days became longer. I started waking up in the morning and coming back in the morning. And that's not so bad one day, but when you keep doing that psychologically, it starts to have a hamper on you. Eventually, too, I started losing my individuality. I started doing what everybody else was doing and looking like everybody else, and it was really killing me. I didn't know what to do at that point. Then 3 life events happened very briefly. One, while I was working, this is actually at a different job because I did contract work. One of my friends who was 26 at the time died of a heart attack. And I was really sad and I didn't understand. I said, wait, a heart attack at 26? I need to do more with my life than just this. I need to get out there, I need to meet people. I need to find out what's really in me, what can I really offer to the world. So I went to one of my coworkers and said, look, I'm really stressed, I don't like this, I don't want to be part of this for the rest of my life, what can I do? And he said, Kareem, everybody gets stressed at this. You get some gray hair, you work through it, and maybe you can retire at 50. I said, okay. And I walked back thinking, I've got to get out of here. So I actually had, interestingly enough, a doctor's appointment that day, just to check up how I was doing. And funny enough, he had a book by Brian Ware. She's a nurse who worked with patients in their last 12 weeks of their life. When asked what their top 5 regrets were, they all had the same answer. The number one thing was, I wish I lived a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. I wish I lived a life true to myself and not a life others expected of me. Seeing my coworkers, my parents, my friends all telling me what success was, I knew I couldn't exist in that bubble anymore. I knew I actually had to live a life true to myself. Now, what does that mean? You get that feeling when you're alive, when you really feel alive doing something. Whether it's playing with a Star Wars or making humorous speech, whether it's being a relationship coach, whether it's working out, you get that feeling that life really has meaning. And if you're not doing that, even just a little bit, I don't want you to run off and say, I quit my job, Kareem, that was a great speech. Now what am I going to eat, top ramen? But that thing that makes you truly feel alive, you have to ask yourself, what's my definition of happiness? What's my definition of success? And then I started trying to become an entrepreneur, and that's when I met a friendly old man named Robert and started in Toastmasters. Now, I'd like to say the journey works out happily there, but it wasn't a happily ever after because I still had some realizations to make to create real courage in myself. I started speaking, and the first time I was here, I didn't actually finish my icebreaker. I got too scared, and I actually stopped in about like maybe 2 or 3 minutes before. That's a great international speaker, right? And funny enough, on the other side, I was trying to be an entrepreneur while working, so my day was this. Sitting down at a chair, typing, and then I'd go off and call people to buy marked up products that they didn't really need. And I tried this for about 2 years till I couldn't attend Toastmasters, and I had started getting better. I wasn't able to succeed in any of the businesses I tried, and I was still stuck at that 9-to-5 job, and I still had that feeling of I need to get out of here. I really need to live my life as an entrepreneur and a public speaker. I was on the verge of giving up when going through Facebook, and I don't know why, but sometimes you can find the most interesting things in the craziest places. Someone actually shared something meaningful. It wasn't a meme this time. What was it? It was a video of the late Steve Jobs. He had a video before he was really successful, and the video said this, and I quote, "When you tend to grow up, you get told the world is the way it is, and that your job is to live inside the world, have a nice family life, have a little fun, save a little bit of money, but life can be much broader. Once you realize one simple fact, that the people who invented these things are no smarter than you, and you can influence it, you can change it, you can build your own things that other people can use. And once you learn that, you'll never be the same again." And I was never the same again. Why? Because not that it was smarter, not that I pulled up an IQ test, but I realized it wasn't really the intelligence factor. It was looking at Steve Jobs as a person, not just the words. Actions speak louder. He was courageous enough to go out there with no idea of what he was going to do, creating a computer in his garage of all things, and then selling it to the world to create one of the biggest corporations. And I thought, if a kid who pulled his shirt over his face when he was 5 because he was terrified of speaking, and passed out at chorus concerts and passed out at band concerts and almost couldn't finish an icebreaker could become an international speaker, then it was possible. So it's really not the fact of being smarter. The people who came before you, the people who have invented these great things, are just more courageous. They just have the ability to get up here and talk about the crazy events in their life, talk about the crazy things they've done or they want to do, and aren't afraid to do it anymore. And once you start doing that, it starts dying. Once you start looking for a little bit of courage to do what you want, when you start asking, what am I living for? What's my true self really want? You begin to discover the last most important thing. What am I doing here? I've discovered a gift I had that I didn't even know existed. And I can tell you, everybody here has a gift. Francine, I know you can become a great relationship coach. Vanessa, I know you have the ability to help people get in the most fit shape of their lives. Jody, I know you're awesome with power tools. Melissa, you gave the funniest speech I've ever heard at a Toastmaster. Everybody here has a particular gift, and don't look at a gift as just being a pro athlete, a pro musician, or somebody who's famous. Actually ask, what is my true purpose? What am I truly living for? Am I living a life true to myself? And these people that they keep telling me, the professional athletes, they have actually decided that they're going to be a little bit more courageous. They're just a little bit more courageous to go out there and throw a football, and then if they don't win, walk off the field. Or they're a little bit more courageous to mess up at a concert. Whatever it is, they found their gift. by just being a little bit more courageous and being true to themselves. These tie into each other to actually create real courage. And if you're not convinced, let me give you the advice from my junior high attendant. His advice was, for a long time you haven't existed, and for a long time you won't exist. So in this short period of time that you're on this planet, I hope you can find the real courage to do whatever you want and to change the world the way you see fit. Madam Toastmaster.